Welcome to the Whole Athlete Podcast, where we focus on discussing topics to help you become a fat burner, optimize health, and improve performance in life and sports. Transform the whole you from the inside out with the WHOLESTIC Method. Let's dive in. Here's your host, Debbie Potts.
Hey guys, it's Debbie doing a new episode of the Whole Athlete Podcast. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about what are your chronic stressors? What are your red flags? Because a lot of people ask me how I identified what was going on with me back in 2013. And as I'm recording this episode in 2019, July of 2019, it's taken me that long of time to figure out really what my external stressors are and what I'm learning in FDN and studying genetics, and what I learned from Nutritional Therapy practitioner work is the contributors to what we see in FDN, metabolic chaos. It's that disruption of our hormones. The cortisol to DHEA gets imbalanced and leads to all sorts of dysfunction in our body systems. And it's pretty amazing to me what I've learned now, and I wish I knew back then, the impact of all these lifestyle habits I had of living life as a race and just the chronic stress of running my own business, I realized was my biggest stressor, because since 2010, I've had to pay a huge amount of rent for my fitness studio in Bellevue, Washington, and it has been nonstop because every year the rent goes up, and business is always a challenge to always reinventing yourself. And you might know, if you're a small business owner, it's a lot of work, especially if you're training clients and teaching classes and doing all the in-person stuff. And then you have to do also the admin behind the scenes work. So in FDN, I've learned a lot about what we do to help solve metabolic chaos. It's kind of just exactly what I figured out through my last 5, 6, 7 years is the root cause isn't what we're looking for. We're not diagnosing one thing. We're not doing a bunch of lab testing and treating the results. It's just the opposite. And this makes sense to me because none of the solutions that I tried back in 2013 on that I saw, say, about 10 different practitioners, doctors, and so many people did the same thing, lab testing or medication, and then they just treated the symptoms, versus what I found that works best for me is working on healing the whole body, and working on, as this podcast is called, the whole athlete. And in nutritional therapy, we work on balancing the body systems. The foundations of nutritional therapy are digestion, blood sugar regulation, essential fatty acid balance, mineral balance, and hydration. And we work on healing the body to really get the body's own innate intelligence to reestablish homeostasis on its own. But we need to guide our body a little bit, our innate intelligence, and help lead it back to finding and restoring its own balance with some supplements, with some lifestyle changes. And that's what I love about being an FDN practitioner, that I'm going to be able to be an investigator to help solve the crime of metabolic chaos and figuring out where our, I hate the word weak links is what we look for, but I like to think of it as areas of opportunity. Where are we out of whack? And we don't just look at one thing. Our goal is to help heal and rebuild every cell, tissue, and body system. And we do this with a unique approach to work on the whole you, the whole athlete, from the inside out to restore your health and vitality. So we keep working on creating a protocol that works for you based on functional lab testing and your history and your lifestyle habits, and working on the Dress for Health Success protocols that we will work on creating for you as an individual. And in my coaching program, I call it the WHOLESTIC Method, where we work on your nutrition, your exercise, your sleep, and your stress, your movement, mobility throughout the day, your gut health, your hormone balance, digestion. And then we work on, of course, hydration, because our body's 60% water. And most of all, most rewarding of all is finding happiness. And a lot of happiness and joy and play and laughter is going to be an end result of eating the foods right for your metabolic type, eating foods that you are able to digest properly, and eating foods that don't cause a sensitive reaction in your body, and eating foods slowly and eating mindfully so you can digest the food properly and help improve your gut health so you have the right nutrient breakdown and absorption. So part of the nutritional therapy and FDN program is putting all this together, and I use genetics, using ancestry DNA, uploading your data into what's called DNAFit, and there's some other ones I've just learned about too, to look at your genetic profile and how your ability to deal with stress might need a little bit more nutrient support, looking at your genetics and epigenetics. So the lab testing that we'll use in my coaching program to help restore and rebuild the whole athlete includes the BioHealth 205A. It's adrenal hormone stress profile. And then we work on BioHealth 101, the metabolic assessment profile. BioHealth 110 is the intestinal permeability test. BioHealth 401H is a GI pathogen screening. And then the fifth test that we do is the Oxford MRT food sensitivity panel. And all these tests, I find are very affordable, considering all the work that I did for so many years and all the money I spent doing these tests over and over again individually, because all the people that I went to go seek help with, starting back in 2013, would do one test or another, or maybe a combination of them, but still were just treating my symptoms. And I can't blame any of those practitioners, because some of them were on the right path. But what I've said in my own recent interviews is a lot of my healing and rebuilding was the rest of the lifestyle habits. As we talk about in FDN, we do the Dress for Health Success protocol. And that stands for, the DRESS stands for diet, R is for rest, E is exercise, sleep is supplementation, and S is for stress, so DRESS. And the protocol we create is individualized for you based on putting all the information you and I go through, including your background, your main complaints or your areas of concern, and your lab testing. We clinically correlate all this information together, and we work together to investigate the crime scene, so to speak, the metabolic chaos that's causing disruption in your whole body system. So instead of working on treating those symptoms, we're not looking for the root cause, because the symptoms can be found all throughout your body. So we don't know exactly what is the root cause, because one thing could happen and the other thing happens, or vice versa. We just don't know. So instead of wasting time searching for root cause, we're just going to work on healing and rebuilding everything and figuring out the right Dress for Health Success protocol that works for you. And as I started to say, as I get on tangents all the time, supplementation is, yes, important, but the rest of the Dress for Health Success program, the DRES, is really more important, or just as important as the supplements. So if you don't change what you're eating and including that in your metabolic typing that we look at, and your food sensitivity lab. It could be foods that are healthy, low carb, high fat, and they're balancing your blood sugar that you could still be sensitive to and reacting to, which is going to cause inflammation in your body and various symptoms, including skin issues, bloated stomach, gas, contributing to another internal stressor, and leaky gut. And the rest and the exercise and the stress management is just really what we need to look at. As I found over the years, I was trying to find someone to fix me immediately. I wanted to get back to my regular life. I wanted my body back because I gained 30 pounds and lost all my muscle in just a few months from being my best shape in my, doing PR in Ironman Canada and doing my best Ironman Hawaii and doing trail running and marathons. I was doing my best times. And so I had no clue what was ahead of me, what was around the corner, that I was going to have this complete internal blow up. So as we talked to Paul Larson and Matt Fitone about being fit and unhealthy, it's just like your car. It might look beautiful on the outside, but look under the hood, you might be complete disaster and you have no idea. So we don't want to test. We want to test and not guess what's really going on internally, because we have these hidden stressors that we don't know about unless you do lab testing. I can help you with nutritional therapy, look at your symptoms and work on where there's coming from, but clinically correlating all the symptoms, all the complaints you have, concerns, areas of opportunity, and look at these lab tests and create a program for you based on the whole assessment, not just one lab, one hormone that might be low. And we're not going to just say, hey, take progesterone, take this, take that. We're going to work on everything all at once, because it doesn't work. Trust me, the struggle is real. I have been through this myself, and this is why I'm closing my fitness studio, starting a brand new business all by myself online to help you heal and rebuild. So it's the WHOLESTIC Method Healing Rebuilding Program. I'll start this fall for individuals, but I will be running online 30-day group fat adaptation programs that we do my 3-phase, the WHOLESTIC Method protocol to help you become fat burner. So a good part of just starting healing yourself is working on nutrition, and I coach people in that 30-day program how to work on your digestion, sleep, stress, movement, mobility, and exercise, and hydration, and do some detox and digestive reset program in that 30 days. So that will be starting in October. I am actually doing a special below half price. It's normally $597 for the 30 days for the group program, but I'm going to offer it for only $197 for the 30 days in October, because I'm just launching this just online, as I've done it the 5-day jump start, but now we're going to do the whole 30-day program, which the 5 days normally $97, and I just do 10 people and we kind of dive in a little deeper. But I want to try this 30-day program with 20 people and work on the WHOLESTIC Method coaching program. And then the Fat Adapted Athlete program will start in November. And so I'll do some free webinars October 21st and 30th to help teach people a little bit about how to improve your fat adaptation, especially off season for endurance athletes. We need to work on changing what we're eating when we're not exercising as much, and working on those shorter workouts, lower heart rates, and working the Mafetone, max aerobic function heart rate. So as an FDN practitioner, I will start doing individual 90-day coaching programs to heal and rebuild the whole you from the inside out. So we do it in 3 steps. Step 1, we address the underlying conditions and contributors to metabolic chaos. As FDN investigators, we look at, as I said, carefully at your history, your main health concerns, and we put that with the well-chosen functional labs that I will be able to help you order, and you can run on yourself, and you ship the test results back to the labs, and then we get the lab results back. We go through them and figure out how to customize a Dress for Health Success program, working on what you're eating, how you're sleeping, how you're resting, recovering, how your exercise sessions should be, your stress, how we can identify those external stressors, and then internal stressors we talk about, and supplements. So the hidden stressors are the big ones. Hidden stands for hormones, immune, digestion, detoxification, energy, and your immune system, N is your neurotransmitters, nervous system. So really, if you've listened to nutritional therapy podcasts and I've done over the years, we have to work on the gut health. It's what you're eating, making sure you're not eating foods too quickly, you're not eating the wrong foods for your metabolic type, and we're not eating foods that are going to be reactive in your body. That's the first part. So we start on that while we're waiting for the lab testing, making sure you're sleeping, doing your sleep hygiene before you go to bed, working on changing your workout schedule so it's not causing sleep disruption. Perhaps you're switching around your workout sessions so you're not waking up too early in the morning. So you might need to tweak some things there. And then the stressors of external stressors, I've said this in interviews I've just been given lately, that we need to stop, pause, and reset during the day. Maybe not rush one appointment to another. Leave a little buffer in between appointments. And so we do this in the Dress for Health Success program, using those lab results to clinically correlate with your history and what your concerns are. But then we create those behavior protocols with supplementation as needed. Then running the coaching program, what we're focusing on is coaching up the function of your body systems. We're coaching down those contributors to metabolic chaos. We keep going, recorrecting the program based on how you're responding, because everybody's body is different. So we're working on getting those vital voids to reveal themselves and the causal factors resolved. It's all about that metabolic chaos, that balance, that yin and yang in your body systems. So I want you to think about that. Metabolic chaos is that HPA axis dysregulation, that dysfunction in our body that's related to the cortisol, to the DHA hormones that break down your muscles to build up the muscles. Everything has to be in balance. So we've got the muscle skeletal health, the neural tissue health, the endocrine function, which are your adrenal, sex, stress hormones, your fat and protein metabolism, your detoxification, because your liver, your oxidative stress, all these things happen as well as cellular level, as well as your inflammation, your immune function, your ability to inflame and deflame in balance so we can help be that pro-anti-inflammatory state and heal ourselves, to work on our carb metabolism and energy in your cells, your mitochondria. And that's a whole nother topic I want to get into later, is working on our mitochondria, or the energy producers, the ATP. So if we're causing chronic stress from the way we're living and our internal hidden stressors, how's that disrupting our energy producers in our cells, our ATP powerhouse production? Mitochondria function is so essential, I think, to avoiding this adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, HPA axis dysfunction, whatever you want to call it, whatever word's easiest for you, chronic stress disease. Those mitochondria need to be healthy if you want to improve your performance and work on longevity. And as athletes, if you want to continue doing what you're doing for a long time, and if you want to age gracefully, and as I keep saying, I want to travel the world and be able to be biking in Europe and traveling, hiking up places in Tuscany when I'm older. So what you're doing right now could be increasing, speeding up your aging process and causing you to break down from the inside out. So I would start paying attention to your red flags. As I realize, as I keep reflecting on my book, Life is Not a Race, and how I'm closing my business right now, starting a new business, focusing on the whole athlete coaching program, the WHOLESTIC Method, is that the ability to slow down and take breaks is really essential to our health, and be able to listen to that, not having my period, to be honest, for 6 months when I was racing every season, I thought was great. Not having interruptions in my racing schedule and being able to keep going and feeling strong and recovering well. I mean, there's all these things that you don't know that, you could be better and you could recover faster. And your heart rate, you should know when it's higher than normal, or when a workout that used to be easy suddenly is harder and your heart rate is way higher than normal. There's all these different things you might find for yourself. It's a one-size-fits-all approach does not work. The one-size-fits-all approach is not what you want to do. You want to avoid comparing yourself with other people and doing what they're doing, but listening to your own body, your own red flags, what's causing dysfunction and leading you down gradually this rabbit hole that you might not know you're going down, because you are in often the beginning of HPA axis dysfunction. You kind of feel like you're superhero, you have superhuman powers and you're invincible. And you keep pushing yourself because you are fit and strong on the outside, but you really don't have any clue that you're gradually breaking yourself down internally at a cellular level. So my goal is to help you avoid going down this rabbit hole, breaking yourself down, that you are suddenly not able to do what you love to do. You're suddenly overweight and you're losing muscle and gaining fat, and your blood sugar levels crazy, you're insulin resistant, just because of the impacts of chronic stress for too long. Anything that's chronic is going to break you down gradually and eventually make you have to stop and everything that you're doing now, and maybe you need to take a winter off and just do 30 to 45 minute workouts that involve just walking, lifting weights slowly, nothing high heart rate, maybe some easy yoga, some Pilates. You have to listen to yourself, or else you're going to be like me, taking years and years to get better because you keep taking one step forward, 2 steps back. So we want to take time out. Doing the lab testing, it's about, for these 5 different labs, it's about $1,100, $1,200. And it is worth doing all these labs at once and doing a whole coaching program all together, so you're not taking 5 years to figure out what is wrong because you keep trying the wrong approach. Try everything at once, as with myself or another FDN practitioner, using the nutritional therapy, using the genetics, using what we learn in Kion Coaching program. And I call it the WHOLESTIC Method, coaching the whole athlete to rebuild and heal the whole you from the inside out. So stay tuned. I want to dive in a little bit more about mitochondria dysfunction. Hold on. Okay, so here's my other part of chronic fatigue and solving the investigation of metabolic chaos. So we're resolving the sources of external and internal stressors on our body that causes not only HPA axis dysfunction, or you might know that as we used to call it adrenal fatigue, adrenal exhaustion, but it's really the connection between the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland to the adrenal gland. The whole communication system gets overworked and dysfunction happens as, again, anything chronically happening, not more is not better, and getting that Goldilocks effect where I was looking for. But I find that similar to another contributor of chronic fatigue is mitochondria dysfunction. The mitochondria, as I said, are those powerhouses of our cells, and often it's related to chronic fatigue and other diseases. So Dr. Myhill, we did a podcast with her coming out soon, and I've read the programs from Ari Whitten, who's done a lot of research and information he's sharing for free to promote his program on chronic fatigue that adrenal fatigue is false. It's not the problem. It's mitochondria function. But as I said, I really find it interesting to evaluate our genetics that relate to our ability to deal with stress, because obviously I'm more of a stress person. I easily get stressed and worked up about things. So putting all this together is really important, because mitochondrial dysfunction is related to chronic fatigue. And it makes sense to me when I read the information from Dr. Myhill and on Ari Witten's programs and other people talking about mitochondria. As Dr. Lee Know, his book that I'm trying to read. It's a little too much for me to read at nighttime. But saying it's not adrenal exhaustion, it's mitochondrial dysfunction. But to improve the health of our mitochondria, there's certain things that we can do. That's kind of what I do in the WHOLESTIC Method, is living a clean lifestyle, eating organic, eliminating processed and artificial foods. So the artificial ingredients and colors, I think, are a big part of a lot of people doing what's called dirty keto, that they're getting a lot of the fake ingredients and toxins in their foods. And reducing exposure to environmental toxins as much as possible, including air pollution and those endocrine culprits, and getting rid of, looking at EWG website, looking at your products you're using in your household, your skincare products, your makeup, cleaning supplies in your house, as well as paint. And someone's doing road construction outside, you just smell those toxins. And exercise, getting the right amount. Again, it's all ways, more is not better. Too much, too little can cause deficiencies. So you have to find that right amount that you can tolerate in everything. So that Goldilocks effect, how much is just the right amount for you to optimize your health, optimize your mitochondria. So top nutrients that I've heard from Dr. Myhill and other articles I've read online, how to support your mitochondria, which has really been helping me since I started doing a little more of this myself this year with Quicksilver products, liposomal drops that you put under your tongue for 30 seconds. Some of these supplements are included in D-ribose, L-carnitine, magnesium, which I really like the Natural Stacks MagTech, and have that nighttime, really helps my sleep and muscle cramping. Number 4 is coenzyme Q10, or you might hear as CoQ10 for short. And niacinamide, the vitamin B3, and other vitamins. That B3 is really important because it's a precursor of NAD+. And if you've read anything on my website and online of True Niagen, I've been taking that supplement all year, and that's really helpful for increasing that B3, the NAD precursor that helps the mitochondria. Also, taking different phytochemicals from different herbs and foods and getting that PQQ. So there's an interview I did with someone earlier this year on these, kind of has everything in it. It has the PQQ, coenzyme Q10, and some other ingredients that come in a syringe, and you just take one of those, has some MCT oil as a carrier, and you just take that each day. And that was a really good option as well to help your mitochondria. So the more mitochondria we have in our cells, the more shared workload we have in less metabolic stress and less free radicals. So the more mitochondria we can have in the cells is best. So more is better in that case. But when we're exercising as endurance athletes, triathletes, training for Ironman, doing long distance racing, exercise too much in the black hole can cause additional stress and excess cortisol, but also can create more stress on your cells. And we want to look at adding instead more hormetic stresses. So you've heard a lot this year about cold thermogenesis, infrared therapy for your heat therapy. We've talked a lot about fasting and intermittent fasting. And for years we've heard about high intensity interval training and then hypoxia. These are all different ways to add positive stress, that acute stress, that small dose of something stressful, and then rest. Your body has time to adapt to it. So this is a good kind of stress, acute stress. Anything that gets to be too excessive, to nonstop ongoing that becomes chronic, that is going to potentially lead to excessive chronic stress and causing mitochondria dysfunction as well as HPA axis dysregulation. And a lot of it is looking at how you feel. Are you feeling fatigued and burned out and lacking energy throughout the day? And maybe you're slower recovery from workouts and you're just not feeling yourself. You kind of know who you are. And if you pay attention to your red flags, you'll start to know when you start to slip into that black hole training and slacking off on making more time in your day for rest and recovery and repair. And a lot of people cut out their sleep to get more stuff in during the day. So really taking time out so you're getting your quality sleep, 7 to 9 hours a night, majority of people say. And I think getting that sleep hygiene routine at nighttime, so you're kind of slowing down, you're dimming the lights, you're getting more of a dark room, you're getting the room cold, you're maybe reading in bed a book. And I've been having to wear my reading glasses, trying to avoid social media at night and cutting off when you respond to emails and text messages, and just turning your phone completely off or at least in airplane mode is helpful. But as I work on my new ebook on how to train the whole athlete to avoid breakdown and burnout, and creating my healing and rebuilding a program with my FDN practitioner work and my nutritional therapy work, I think it's really important to look at the function of our mitochondria. Can we optimize that mitochondria health? Because excessive stress does break down the body, creates more oxidative stress and more damaging to our mitochondria. And if we want to improve our energy, where does energy come from? It's being made in those cells. So we want to regain our energy. We might want to pay attention to different tips that are shared from Ari Whitman and Dr. Myhill and other people you follow. Dr. Maffino's great information on how to just start with eliminating the cell autophagy, getting rid of the toxic cells, dead cells. That's what the fasting helps, and rebuilding new healthy cells. So I'm actually diving into this gigantic book called Metabolic Autophagy that's 500 pages long by Sim Land. And I will kind of look at, I started to read it. It's 500 pages. It's really long and it's a big book. It's a textbook. So I find it really interesting. He puts a lot of this information that other people have researched, and he's kind of put it all in one resource manual. So I really am excited to read it. If I can speed read, that'd be awesome. And Dr. Myhill, who's in the UK, specializes in mitochondrial dysfunction. So I think it's really important for us competitive athletes and type A, AAA personalities to look at our mitochondria health and add more good acute stress training, so hormetic stressors, and getting those good supplements to help our mitochondria, as well as working in recovery and repair properly post-workout sessions, because endurance training, you might be doing a little more volume than is good for us, and perhaps focus more on your recovery. So train hard, but recover harder is really a good tip. So mitochondria, remember, are the cells that convert your nutrients to energy. So if those cells are constantly working on choosing create energy or deal with stress and are put on energy modes, put on hold, those mitochondria are responding to the stressors. So stress response system they talk about, and the mitochondria, if they're not functioning at optimal level, what's going to happen? They produce your energy, and if they're not working right, you're going to feel fatigue, poor endurance, and poor recovery. So part of that with my FDN work, doing functional lab testing, we can correct and avoid internal and external stressors, those hidden sources of stress that contribute to metabolic chaos. And our internal sources of stress, of these hidden stressors, could be part of the investigation we need to dive into to figure out why do we feel fatigue. So not just looking at mitochondria, but looking at contributors to internal stressors that lead to metabolic chaos. They're not necessarily the cause of metabolic chaos, but either way, they're contributing or a result of metabolic chaos. So we've got our hormones, immune system, digestive system, detoxification, energy system, which are thinking more mitochondria, and your nervous system, those neurotransmitters. And as I said, the neurotransmitters, I think this is so interesting that if you don't have good digestion, so as I always say, it's what we eat, but how we eat and when we eat, right? So think of how neurotransmitters are made. They're made from amino acids, vitamins, and go backwards. So if we eat more protein, we have to be able to digest that protein. So you need the right stomach acid, but so most of us all need HCl, betaine, some type of stomach acid supplement, not an antacid, but more acidic environment to start your proper digestion of your food. Those proteins having HCl, betaine type supplement, and then your proteins can break down into amino acids. And then your food goes into your small intestine, and the nutrients start to break down more in the first part, the duodenum of the small intestine. And then we need proper permeable gut wall lining, mucosal layer, where the lining inside of the gut wall needs to be functioning optimally. And their neurotransmitters, example serotonin, is made in the gut. So majority, say 90% of serotonin is made in your gut from those ingredients from your food. So if we're not getting the nutrients and we're not absorbing the nutrients in our gut, we're going to have neurotransmitter deficiency. If we have poor gut health, we often have poor brain health because of that connection of your gut and brain. So there's so much to dive into on really focusing on how to feel better, move better, and look better from the inside out, working on all these different things, but not treating anything specifically. So looking at metabolic chaos, looking at those hidden stressors with functional labs, correlating all this together with your genetic testing reports and lifestyle habits, put it all together and create that plan. Work on what should you eat, how you should eat, when you should eat, how you're sleeping, how you're exercising, what type of training you're doing. Are you measuring heart rate variability to monitor your stress and recovery? Are you doing mobility drills? Are you working on proper digestion, how you're eating, taking digestive aids, as I said, HCl, probably digestive enzymes, mega sporebiotics for a spore-based probiotic, and maybe we need to do a leaky gut protocol with you, or maybe you have pathogens that you don't know about. So that's why the functional lab testing is really, really important to do, to put with what are you feeling, digestive issues, inflammation in your body, all these things. A lot of it starts with our gut health. So working on digestion, gut health is essential, as well as hydration. And remember, making time to be silly, to play, and doing things that make you happy. You know, avoiding those people that are those energy robbers, those, what do they call them, vampires, that they suck the energy out of you. So try to find more people that you like to spend time with, that make you have fun. And we get so serious in life, and just try not to be a superhero and think you're invincible. Give yourself time to heal and rebuild, and taking time out each day to take care of you as a person, instead of rushing through the day and being kind of oblivious to how you feel. And we just go a workout to appointment to meal to activity to family duty to kids activities to sports, that we really stop feeling, being aware of what we feel, knowing when we're run down, knowing when you need to reschedule a workout. So with that, I want you to work on identifying your external stressors and figure out how you can start getting more sleep and recovery time, as well as try intermittent fasting, that 16-hour overnight fast, and eat in an 8-hour window, and then work towards maybe a 5-hour window. Try some fasted morning workouts, and taking out those carbohydrates throughout the day, maybe add more fat and protein, and start your fat adaptation process. We will be doing
a 30-day program in October, that special deal I was telling you about. And then on November, I'll start the Whole Athlete Fat Adapted program for endurance athletes to make the switch from being carb burner to fat burners. So please sign up for my programs. You can just reach out to me via debbiepotts.net. On Instagram, I'm the Low Carb Athlete, and Facebook, check out the Low Carb Athlete page where I'm pinning up my research articles and podcasts and interview stuff that I find as I do some research on writing my new manual and ebook and webinars and all sorts of stuff coming out this fall. But I'm excited to help you, and I hope you join my new journey of focusing on building the Fat Adapted Athlete program and the healing and rebuilding the Whole Athlete individual coaching program starting this fall in October. So be in touch. Let me know if you have questions. Thank you for joining me today, and continue taking care of the whole you from the inside out.
Thanks for listening to the Whole Athlete Podcast. If you have any questions, feedback, or topic suggestions, let us know on Facebook or at wholeathletepodcast.com. You can help us continue and grow by leaving a review on iTunes. Thanks again, and see you next time.